Divine peace and blessings. It is the Divine Prince Tayameka, Pan-African spiritualist, practitioner, author, advisor, Hudu Obeya Bokur. It is that time again where I have a concept, a thought, an idea, sometimes even an emotion that I hold and I research and I meditate on and I pray about before I put it on a YouTube video. And this is one of those topics that I have been thinking about quite deeply for quite some time. This isn't a new concept for me. My nearly half a century on earth and my 40 years in spirituality and religion have often put me in a place to contemplate spiritual power, ashe, if you will, magic, and the accuracy, the reliability, the authenticity thereof. I don't like to reference other religions, particularly Islam, particularly the Bible, particularly Judaism. I believe it to be a slippery slope, if you will, in a society, in a world that has bought into those belief systems blindly. So it almost guarantees an argument even to reference them. It also puts you in a place of having to defend them to some degree, even when that may not be your belief. Definitely not, no longer my belief. But I do reference the Bible on occasion when it makes sense to my topic. And today I want to talk about spirit, ashe. Doesn't matter, evangelical, priest, minister, babalawo, iyawo, voodoo priest, spokur. How do we measure the authenticity and the accuracy of their work? And often this is placed as a responsibility on the practitioners. And the practitioners will often get into competitions and debates and politics about whose house is better, whose church is better, whose pastor, teaches the truth. But usually that is political, favor driven, emotional. And we remove responsibility from the client, the godchild, the seeker to do their homework in identifying first what it is that you seek. Many come to me and claim they need spiritual advice, spiritual power, spiritual services, when often they only need to be heard. They only need to be listened to. They only need to be understood. They need good advice. And it is the impetus of the client, the customer, the seeker, to be clear about what it is that you are seeking. And then be clear that that is what you're getting. If you're seeking good advice, be sure that it is good advice and nothing else. Not some mix of, some prelude to, some sales pitch for something else. Be clear about what that is that you want. If you're looking for a result oriented practitioner, I'm your guy. I may not be the most patient consultant, if you will. I've been accused of not being the most patient teacher, if you will, particularly if I believe, if I have a sense that I'm being taken for granted or the material is not being considered seriously. Like any professional would, a teacher, an educator, a doctor, a financial consultant is not going to allow you to eat up a lot of their time imagining, investigating, looking in for a voyeuristic experience. They're only going to commit, and rightfully so, to those who are most committed to the process. So now we live in a day and a time where the practitioners are in constant battle and challenge of each other, while the clients, those in need, the godchild, the community, is left with no clear direction, no clear guideline as to how to acquire the right service and how to measure the effectability of that effectiveness of that service. Whether it's a service, whether it's a consultation, whether it's a spiritual bath, you need to be clear about what it is that you're seeking even before you open the doorway of communication with many of these people, including myself. Be clear about what it is that you want with me and from me. Sometimes people will play tricky word games. And I don't mean the practitioner, I mean the seeker, about what it is that they're really seeking, what it is that they're really after. And often, after just a brief amount of conversation, you find out that there's much more beneath the surface, much more percolating, if you will, with that person, with that individual. So I implore you to be clear about what you seek. I'm a diabetic. I wouldn't go to my dentist for diabetic care. I wouldn't go to my dentist for diabetic care. I wouldn't go to my diabetic practitioner for dental care. And be clear about that person's qualifications. There's a lot of name dropping and title dropping and location dropping, but at the end of the day, what really does it speak to spirit and to manifestation? There is a secret and mysterious code to understanding spirit. It cannot be bought, it cannot be sold, it cannot be traded, it cannot be gifted, it cannot be given unto you in favor. It must be authentically and explicitly understood and internalized. I'll give you a very simple real world example. You can go to university, you can read books, you can be taught, you can be instructed, you can have tutors. No one can give you an education. No one can give you understanding of that education. It has to be from within. They can walk you through the journey, they can assist you, they can tutor you in understanding, help you to understand the language, help you to understand the process, help you to understand what is necessary to get from point A to point B, but no one can make you understand. No one can make you internalize understanding. I can teach you 1 + 1 is 2, but if you don't understand that, if you don't see that, if you can't perceive that from within, then it's just Greek on paper to you. And you may very well be able to regurgitate that process. Many of us have done that and do that to get through school, to get through tests. You cram study, and you have just enough information to pass that test for that week. A month later, you don't know any of that information. And you most certainly aren't always able to process it and make sense of it from within unless you've done the real work. You've got to do the real work. There are no shortcuts to the real work. There are no shortcuts to truly manifesting spirit. There's no shortcuts to really hearing from spirit. You either have it or you don't. You have it or you don't. And as the seeker, if anything makes sense to you, first be clear about what it is that you seek, and then be sure that the people that you seek out for that actually have that, actually can do that, actually can produce that thing. People can convince you, motivate you, keep you happy and keep you positive and give you what you want to hear and give you what they know will keep you placated temporarily. And then you find out later on that you still haven't received that which you came for. You still don't have that which you sought. You're still in the same position you were when you came through the door. So let's be pure. Let's be authentic. Let's be real about first what it is that we want. And then go after that. Then actualize that. Then manifest that. Then demonstrate that. I am the Divine Prince. Respect the voodoo.